state witness in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial will today continue to be grilled over the collection of evidence at the scene. And that's as Thabo Mosia's cross-examination continues in the High Court in Johannesburg this morning. Yesterday, Mosia conceded under cross-examination that the police's handling of that 2014 murder scene was not the best and may, in fact, have been contaminated. So let's bring in our reporter, Linda Mnisi, who's been tracking what has been a dramatic few days of trial. And this is a startling admission made by Mosia.
Absolutely, Michelle, given the fact that evidence becomes, a crucial part of a trial and proving that, in fact, the people that are in the dock are the right suspects.
It's everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. In trying to also pin them to the crime. I mean, you've heard, I think it was on Wednesday, how he did not take swabs of the main door the intruders allegedly used to enter the house. And also the issue around the contamination, specifically around that door, comes in because a lot of people are said to have used that door. The police themselves used that door to enter the house. Another issue is how this evidence was collected, the little evidence that was collected. Sergeant Thabo Mosia says when he got to the scene, he took about 8 pictures. And he's asked, so what happened to the original copies of those pictures? And he says, well, they were booked out. And he didn't know that they were booked out. They're not in his possession. So can't rule out the possibilities of, tampering with those pictures.
Insofar as that front door is concerned, what's his excuse for not swabbing it?
He says it was used by a lot of people when he arrived at the scene.
He said he didn't think it was useful or helpful to the case.
Given the fact that it had already been touched by a number of people, so if you're going to take fingerprints from it, obviously you'll find officer so-and-so, you'll find this person, you'll find that person, and it may prove to be difficult to prove that the intruders actually used that door. And it's quite critical given the fact that the allegation here is that there were intruders, 2 people in fact who went into that house, and those are the people who shot Senzo Meyiwa. We're going to hear more around actually the DNA and what the analysis from the actual evidence that was collected, even with the register of the evidence that he collected, who compiled that register. He says himself, but where did you store the evidence itself? He says, I stored that evidence in my safe until Monday. So he only filed that evidence 2 days after the murder. And this is information that's now being revealed during cross-examination and not in evidence in chief.
So okay, we get his excuse for not swabbing the front door. Why then only focus on a small cordoned off area and not extend his investigation of the crime scene?
In fact, it goes back to the question that Advocate Melissa Latefo asked him around whether or not he was coached in that crime scene, because you'll remember he said when he arrived, he found Brigadier Ndlovu, and Brigadier Ndlovu pointed to him the spots that he needed to take pictures of. And yesterday, Advocate Mshololo, who's representing accused number 5, asked him, so did you go beyond the points shown by Brigadier Ndlovu? Because this is your scene, you're there to collect forensic evidence, you're there to look for any other clues that may help in finding these suspects. And he says he did not go beyond those points. The only points that he took, the only evidence that he took at that particular point was the one pointed at by Brigadier Ndlovu. So it brings about questions around the second batch of the pictures then, because he says he had to stop because he realized that the scene was a bit challenging for him. There was a well-known person who was involved, so it needed a crime scene management task team to be called in, who would then be able to handle that crime scene. So we have 2 sets of pictures, and now the defense is arguing, Advocate Mshololo is arguing that because you did not collect that evidence during your first visit, it was not there, and that is why you did not reveal this information in your evidence in chief. It is because it was planted.
I mean, suffice to say, it does not bode well for the police's reputation insofar as crime scene management is concerned. I want to just end off our conversation, Linda, because there is no shortage of drama in this trial, isn't there? Kelly Khumalo's attorney, Magdalene Munsami, she may now be slapped with the charge of defeating the ends of justice. Very quickly, tell us about that.
Yeah. So Advocate Malesela Defo's instructing attorney Titi Tobani says that because she said she would challenge, of course, the allegations that, or the assertions that there will be a witness that will take to the stand that will point that Kelly Khumalo, in fact, was the one that accidentally killed Senzo Meyiwa. They will be lodging an application. Now the defense is saying, we're going to open a case of defeating the ends of justice, because once the witness hears that you're going to challenge that, they're going to pull back.
Linda Mnisi, thanks very much indeed. You'll keep us up to speed as the case continues.